How's it going, everybody? My name is Ian and you are watching Drive MX5 channel, and today we got quite a bit of work to do on my 2005 Audi S4. Now, as you can see back there, it's kind of hard, it's kind of dark. The boot for the axle is completely torn. You can see the metal joint there inside. If you can hear that, there's quite a bit of play in this thing, so that definitely needs to be replaced. So before you start this job, you want to make sure you get a set of triple square sockets much like this one here. I got this one off of ECS Tuning's website. I'll post a link in the description below, and the specific size that we use for the axle bolts, there's 6 of them, is this XZN110. I don't know if y'all could see that here, but that's the size that these axle bolts take. A Torx bit might work, but last time I tried it, it felt like it was going to strip the bolt out, and I definitely didn't want that to happen. So make sure you get a good set of these. Having the right tools just makes it a lot easier to do the job, and you won't have any regrets later on. And then to remove this axle bolt here, you're going to need a 17mm male hex socket. I guess that's what you call this. But either way, it is 17mm, kind of an odd size to get. But again, make sure that you go ahead and get the right size and the right tool for the job. It'll just make it a lot easier to remove, and there's really no chance in damaging this bolt and not being able to get it out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see if we can get this axle out. All right, looks like now we're gonna have to remove this pinch bolt here to remove these 2 upper control arms, and then remove the tie rod end as well. So that way we can kind of rotate this whole hub assembly down like this and pull this axle out of the hub. So now that we got the old axle out, we can go ahead and replace it with this brand new, nice and shiny one here. As you can see, it was definitely time for this thing to be replaced. No wonder I was getting vibrations from the driver's side. This job so far isn't as bad as I thought it'd be. This pulled out super easy. The bolts on this side are extremely difficult with hand tools. So if you do have an impact wrench, I would definitely recommend doing that. Like I did here, you can just sort of go through the hole between the subframe and the body of the car, put the impact in there behind the brake disc and everything, and there's plenty of room to get those off. There was no trouble with the impact gun. Same thing with the hub bolt right there, no trouble at all. So go ahead and throw this new one in. Alright, now that we've got the axle installed on both sides, we're going to go ahead and torque those axle bolts, the 6 triple square ones, around the transmission housing. So we're going to go ahead and do that in a pattern similar to if you had a 6-lug, which this is a 5-lug, but if you had a 6-lug wheel set up here, so just go in the sort of a cross pattern to make sure that the axle centers on the transmission properly. That way it's not cockeyed one way or the other. So go ahead and get someone to hold the brakes while you do this, and I'm going to get under the car and try to torque those. Now that we got all 6 of the axle bolts torqued to 59 foot-pounds, we're going to go ahead and put all of this back together and then get the hub bolt in as well. This one has a torque spec of 148 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees more of rotation to get that little bit of stretch and get tension on it. Make sure you have a torque wrench as well that can go up to 150 foot-pounds. This one just barely does, so it should be fine. Then we'll go ahead and get the breaker bar over here to get that extra 90 degrees. Now let's go ahead and get this back together, and then we can get this hub bolt in. right, now we got the suspension all back together. We need to go ahead and tighten this bolt, but you don't want to torque it down until you get the wheel on and get the weight on the car. I assume that just means so you can get an accurate torque measurement and make sure that the axle and everything is all aligned. So we're going to do this later after we finish doing some of the other repairs that we're going to do today. But the bolt that came with the axle is a much bigger, and as you can see, the entire design of the bolt head is different. This one will use a male socket, this one uses a female socket, and then this one actually is a quite massive bolt. This 1 1/8 socket kind of fits, so this is the closest thing I have, or the only thing I have that'll fit. So we're gonna go ahead and use this. If we can't, then we'll go ahead and reuse the old bolt, but we're gonna try it with this massive socket first. But like I said, we'll go ahead and torque that down after we get the wheel on, after we try to do some of the other repairs that we got planned. We're gonna try to do the AC compressor. We're gonna try to fix the intake manifold flapper, and then maybe even do the oil check valves as well. So make sure you go ahead and watch those videos if you've got one of these cars and you want to see how it's done, or if you're just genuinely curious how difficult and painful it is to work on an Audi S4. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope this video helps some of you out there who are having the same issues and having to replace the axle in your Audi. If it did, make sure to go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the latest videos that I post. And I can't wait to see you in the next video.